Hi, happy Monday, everyone. Tonight we are going to be starting April's Embroidery of the Month. It is the April Showers embroidery, and it's a bunch of teeny tiny little spring icons. And we'll also be stitching them into some greeting cards this week as well. So thanks for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginning crafters. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So all right, you guys, let's get going on that April Showers embroidery. All right, I got everything here for the evening. I hope all of you are doing well. Okay. So April's Embroidery of the Month are these cute little icons. And I have the April Showers pattern printed out right here. So this has the stitch instructions and everything to go. So we do offer this printed out, but it's also a PDF. So if you get the bundle with stuff, the PDF comes with that, or you can get the PDF on its own. But we have the traceable pattern, which we're actually going to use, and then like a reversed pattern and some instructions as well. So ultimately, what I would love to make this week is some of these greeting cards. So I have this like pretty just craft paper greeting card. And I first stitched this design and then sewed it on to the backing card. And here's another one that I made here. So that's a little bit different than what we'll be doing first. So I actually traced those onto a different piece of fabric. I didn't use the pre-printed fabric that came with the design. I actually traced some of the designs from the pattern for this, but I do want to actually stitch using the included fabric. So what I think I might do is I might stitch a little segment of it and then cut that segment out and stitch it onto here. The difference is that there's a lot of extra space around these single icons than I left in the actual design. So I'm kind of liking, I kind of want to just do a group of 4, and I was looking at this and I kind of liked, I don't know, let me know what you guys think. I think, first of all, your comments are not coming up here tonight. Let me see if I can get that to work at all. Hold on. All right, well, we might not get comments tonight. I'm so sorry. I can see that we're live here, but I can't see your comments. Just give me one more sec here. Hi. Well, I don't think that will be happening. Bummer. Okay, well, thank you guys again. I know you're there. I can see that you're there. I just can't see comments on YouTube or Facebook tonight. Boo. Okay, so then we won't take a vote. But I'm thinking I either want to do like this grouping of 4 with the rainbow, the umbrella, the mushroom, and the snail, or I was thinking like this group of 4 might be really cute as well. This is like a gardening group of 4 almost. Oh gosh, any group of 4 would be really cute together, wouldn't it? Like the sunshine, the flower, the bird, and the butterfly. Oh, now I can't decide. Well, I was kind of thinking maybe this boot, the flower, the bee, and this little sprout might be fun. That's like uber gardeny, I think. So I think I'm going to do these 4, and then I will cut out that whole segment from here, and then I'll sew that onto the card. So we won't get to all that tonight, but we can start the stitching. So I think we'll do that. I'm going to stitch these bottom 4 here. And maybe we can do like these top 4 too later, or another 4. I am going to cut them closer than what I did here when we actually sew it on with the sewing machine. But you know what? I can use a little embroidery hoop with this if I'm just doing these 4 as well. So I got that out just in case. Excited to stitch these little fellers. So I am going to stitch it with just 2 strands of floss. I think that'll be helpful versus the 3 that I normally do, just because these are so small that 2 strands of floss will make all my stitched lines a little thinner, and everything will appear a little bit more delicate, I think. So that's going to be my plan, I think. Yep, still cannot see comments, you guys. Boo! Live chat is broken everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to flip open here to my Stitch and Color Guide. So this is page 3, it looks like, of my April Showers pattern. And this will tell you what stitch I used and what colors to use here. And it shows the color, you can see the actual color of the line, but then I also pointed out as well. We have some, they're funny names like Teddy Bear for the brown. So you'll have to check the floss. This is our Pocket Skeins embroidery floss. But I also have a DMC equivalent chart in here if you want to know like the DMC threads that are pretty close. I believe that's, right here. So your floss color chart will be here. That will show you the DMC equivalents if you wanted to use those. All right, so I'm going to have this near me. Usually I have my PDF pattern near me, but tonight I have the printout. All right, I have Marie from YouTube. She's usually over there in the chat. I have her little needle minder that she made me, and I just had some needles on here. I'm just going to grab one. That will be our needle. Actually, I might just have this near me, and I'll just throw the needle there when I need it. Okay, so I think I will start off with this little boot. I think that's just so cute. So let's I think I'm going to start with that outline, just the teddy bear outline. That's that brown. Just a little bit of back stitching. So I'm going to do that loop method of starting just because it's fun. And that's a method you can use if you're using an even number of strands. So I'm actually going to get thread about twice as long what I normally would. So I usually go 18 to 24 inches, about like this length. I'm going to actually double that up. We're going to have extra, but I'll use this thread later. I just like doing this method. So, all right, I have my thread cut. I am going to pull just one strand. So I'm doing that by just kind of pinching it with my fingers and kind of finding one strand and pulling that while the rest bunches up behind. And once it comes out, it will release. Ooh, I think we might actually have a little knot at the end there. Whoa, there. Okay, so there it goes. And it should just totally release when you're done. And then you're left with your single strand here. So I'm going to now fold that in half. And folding it in half will make my 2 strands. I'm actually going to snip the ends so they're nice and clean. All right, grabbing a needle. And let's thread that guy. Okay, so I've threaded the end with the 2 little ends, and then the other end we have this this loop here, right? Not really a loop, but like that's the folded end. So that's what I want on the far side. Through the needle is my 2 little ends here. So I'm gonna just pick a starting point. I think I might start with, I'm going to start with this little cross piece of this boot. And I'm going to actually get real low for you guys so you can see a little bit more close up what we're doing here. Okay, so here we are. We are going to start with this boot, and I'm going to start with this little line that goes across. The whole outline plus this line is that brown, and then this line up here with the little loop there is a green later. Okay, so I am going to start with the back stitch. I'm looking at the designs here, and just all the plain lines are just using backstitch. So I'm using that as a guide. But I'm going to just start my normal backstitch. So I'm going to go from left to right. So I'm starting like a stitch length away. I'm doing about, a little bit more than a 1/16 inch. I'm doing pretty small stitches here. So I'm not going to pull all the way through because I got, this loop on the back. I haven't secured it at all yet. So I'm going to go backwards along my line. That'll be my first stitch. And now I'm going to pull through, but I'm going to stick my needle in that loop. So now when I pull tight, you can see that I've caught my thread in that loop, and that's secured my thread, my floss, so I can just keep going at that point. That's the loop method of stitching, and it's just awesome. I love it. I use it for when I use an even amount of strands, and that's typically my 2 strands. So again, we had 1 strand that we folded in half to make 2, and we left that loop on the end so we could loop it through the backs of our stitches. One thing to keep in mind if you are going to be cutting up this design in any way to sew it onto the cards later, you're going to want to try and contain your stitches on the back. Like, I'm not going to jump from here to there when I'm done with the boot, because like if I wanted to cut out this boot by itself, then I would have that jump on the back, and so I would be cutting my floss at that point. So I want to be mindful of keeping all my stitches kind of within the back here. I think we're going to go around the whole thing and then come back and do that heel at the end. So you guys, over the weekend, so thank you for joining me Thursday and Friday on location, and thanks for popping over to YouTube for that. I was at my parents' house, got to see Chad Kitty, and he was very nice. And so I was going to lay out my Aurifil Block of the Month quilt, which I actually did, and I took a photo, and I thought I posted it on Facebook, but it must not have gone through all the way because I didn't see it in the Facebook group. So I will try posting that tonight again, but I did lay out the whole quilt, and I did number the rows, so we should be able to hop back onto that project and sew some rows together at some point, so that'll be nice. But yeah, I didn't go live, but I did take a photo of it. But yeah, I don't know why it didn't upload, so I'll try doing that. But I'm excited for it. It's busy and crazy, but I like it because it uses up my fabric from that project, and I think it just looks inviting. I think it's just bright and nice. All right, I love these little like mud boot galoshes for gardening. They're sweet. Like this little quad of guys here are all very gardeny. I guess this whole thing, I could have called this like garden showers or something gardeny too, because there's a lot of, I got the gardening on the mind, that's for sure. My mom and dad have tomatoes that are growing. And John's mom has a whole pile of tomatoes growing and lots of other fun stuff already. We have nothing. I am going to poach tomato plants from John's mom and my parents, and we're going to poach some kale plants from them and stuff too. We do have green onions growing from last year, so I think later this week I'm going to I'm going to make like just like a soup. We have a soup, like, a local like soup mix that we like getting. It's got like wild rice and beans and that sort of stuff in, just like a dried combo of items. So I think I'm going to make that with a ton of these green onions cut up. I think that would be almost like an oniony vegetable soup. rice and bean and vegetable soup. Kind of like a minestrone, I suppose. So that's my plan later this week. We've been visiting family, so we have no food whatsoever in the fridge. So soup would be real good. I can't wait till we can harvest kale and stuff again from the garden. I love kale because it's just one plant that, can last the whole season. Like, can give you salads all season long by just cutting more leaves off of it. I like this brown. It's a nice warm brown. This teddy bear color. I don't use it enough. It is a nice, warm, goldeny, pretty color. Ooh, I'm gonna have like just enough floss for this. That's great. I love when that happens. Gotta get the little heel in. Oh, and thanks for everyone who got our new iron-on transfer, our garden herbs iron-on transfer, and the aprons. I think we're almost out of the aprons. I think we have a few more of the red ones and the green ones, but I think we're sold out of those pretty tan-colored ones. So I'm gonna look into ordering more of those potentially here, but they're so nice. My mom modeled them while we were at home, so that was fun too. So those are pictures of my mom in those. All right, so there's the boots. I think we'll do the green next. That's just the little kind of blip on top, and then we'll do the pink of the flower there. I think that's the plan. So now to end, so see how clean it looks when we just started with that loop method? Oh, I love that. And then to end, I'm just going to weave in the ends back and forth 3 times, and that will kind of lock this other end in place. But yeah, those aprons are awesome. They're just, they got 2 huge pockets on them, and they're nice and big. I really like them. I'm going to be stitching some of the herbs onto one of the green ones. All right, let's snip that. So the one thing about the loop method is you can't really do it again because you've cut your loop away. So this is kind of just a scrap. I could use it later if I weave in the end on one end and then stitch just kind of like how I normally do with the 3 strands, weaving in the ends first. But I'm going to just stick to the loop method for a little bit tonight just because it's fun and easy and I like it. So I do have green in all 3 of these, and there's not like tons of green in those, so maybe I'll cut a little smaller piece. Like I won't cut my normal 18 inches or anything at all. I'll just cut like what I think it'll take for it, doubled up, and then I can just reuse the same one, or I'll just take it. I won't have like a lot of excess. So this is probably plenty. It's hardly anything, right? This much thread, but I think it'll be plenty for the couple little stitches we need to do here. All right, I'm going to grab my single strand from here again. Zoop. There we go. Needs the sound effect. It doesn't come apart as well unless you go zoop at the same time. All right, oops, I need to thread that, but first I need to bring both ends together. So I have that folded, that loop on one end, and the like raw edges up here. There we go. So loop on this end. This is such a short piece. I like rarely stitch with this short of a piece, but I literally have 5 stitches to do on this. And I'll start a new piece with these other ones. So this is going to start out with the back stitch along this line, and this is going to be a single chain stitch. So first off, to start out, I'm doing that loop method again. So I'm going up just a little, not all the way through, starting my stitch, kind of getting to the back here. And before I pull it all the way through, I'm going to catch that loop. There we go. And then I'm going to pull the rest of the way. And there we go. We've secured our thread with just that loop again. So clean and pretty. I love it. Oh, it feels good to be stitching again. Liking it. Okay. Last stitch here, and then I'm going to stitch that little chain stitch. So I'm going to come up at the bottom of that loop, and I'm going to kind of make a loop shape around the loop here, and I'm going to go back in my same hole. And before I pull too much, I'm going to come up at the top of that loop, that top of that arc, and I'm going to make sure that my thread is around the needle there, and I'm going to pull and kind of catch that loop around the thread that I pulled through there. So we got our little loop. I'm not pulling it too tight. The tighter you pull it, the more straight the lines come. If you leave it a little loose, then you have that nice teardrop shape. So don't worry about pulling it super tight. And then I'm going to just keep that loop down by adding a little tiny stitch on the other side of the loop, and that'll just kind of tack it down. So that's our little anchor stitch. So there we go. We got our little anchor stitch to hold down our loop, and that's how we're going to hang up these galoshes, I guess. That's how we're going to pull them up our foot. All right. So I'm going to weave in that end. I'm done with this green. And next up, we just have that little pink flower. This is so sweet. So this would be a cute one. Cute little quad of icons to put on a card if you want to send a cute little card to a gardener friend. That time of year for sure. Sorry about the commenting today. It looks like I can tell that you're commenting on both, and on YouTube I can see that you're commenting a lot. So I'm assuming that all y'all can see comments still in our chit-chatting. So that's nice. That's good. I'm glad you can at least still do that. So hopefully it'll all work out tomorrow here. We'll be doing this all week this week. All right, last up, let's do the little pink flower. And this is just 6 petals of pink, and that's just done in the same way as this single chain stitch. When you put a single chain, lots of single chain stitches kind of around a center point, then that's what we call a lazy daisy stitch. So we got this little lazy daisy flower in the middle. Let's see, what else do we have pink in here? Okay, so this is pink as well. Yeah, I think that'll take a little more thread than what I pulled for the green. Actually, maybe about the same. This I might not have enough. This is actually going to take a lot of green, these two. Well, we'll see. We'll see how we do. But I probably don't need a ton. So I'm going to just grab just a little bit again. And I can always get more too. So I just really like that loop method, so I'm sticking with that for the evening. So I don't know. That looks like plenty. Let's get our single strand out of there. All right, pull that out. Zoop. Okay, let's double up the strands. You actually don't need a bigger hoop if you're stitching the whole thing. You could use a smaller hoop and move around a little bit, but when I am stitching a larger piece, I do like just using a larger hoop so I don't have to move it around, and so I can see everything all at once, and I'm not putting extra creases in the fabric. But if you're traveling, then it's way nicer to have just a little hoop and move it around a little. Okay, got my loop on the end, or my folded bit on the end here. Okay, so the loop method does not work as well if you are doing a stitch where you have to come up and down in the same stitch. So with your first move, so like with this chain stitch, I came up and then I went down in the same at the same point. That's how all of these are made as well. So this loop method isn't going to work exactly the same here. But I have all these other stitches here, so instead of looping through my first stitch, I can just loop through something that already exists here. So I'm going to just put the needle in the back of some of those stitches, and then through my loop. And there we go. Now I've held that pink thread to the back of these other back stitches there. So loop method still works. All right, so I'm going to come up. I think all these kind of come up right in the middle there. So all of these stitches I'm going to get right in the middle. All right, let's loop around. I like making that loop shape. You can actually go in and out in the same motion. So I'm going in and out, and then I'm making sure that this thread is behind my needle, like so, and then I can pull through. That's another way of doing these little chain stitches. Okay, and then I'm going to put that little tack on the top, that little anchor stitch. There we go, our first lazy daisy there. I'm going to just keep going around. I'm just going to move the hoop as it's comfortable. So a lot of times you'll see people not move their piece at all, like on Instagram and that sort of stuff, or like if you're watching like a sped up version and they're not flipping their embroidery over, they're not moving it as they stitch, kind of like what I am. They're most likely using an embroidery stand. So then you have both your hands free, and there's less need to move things around, because you have your whole hand is free. It doesn't have to hold the hoop like this. So I would just keep my left hand behind there to feel all my stitches. That's why I keep moving my hoop, is just so my left hand can feel the backs of the stitches really easily, and my right hand can just stitch where it's comfortable as well. Having the hoop stand kind of eliminates that, but not everyone has a hoop stand, and that's why I like doing it without when I'm with you guys here, because you can do it without. You're just moving around a whole lot more. Oops, stuck. All right. 2 more. Since we're using just 2 strands of floss, it doesn't even feel like I'm getting like tons of floss buildup in this little circle. I've been going in and out of this same hole the whole time. So a lot of times if you're using like a lot of thread, like lots of fat thread, that hole will feel like it's getting smaller and smaller and harder to pull through. But since I'm just using the 2 strands, it's not feeling too bad. I can definitely feel like by this stitch, that, yeah, I'm kind of clogging up that hole with all this floss, but it's still not hard. Okay, so last stitch. There we go. Cute little flower decoration on our galasha there. Okay, let's weave in the end, and we just have like a clean little back here too, which is great. I'm not going to have to worry about accidentally cutting any of these threads when I cut this out, because it's nice and clean. So that's good. Just kind of weaving in the backs 3 times again. It's that 3rd time that kind of locks it in. Okay. And then I can snip close to the edge too, or close to the stitches. All right, 1 done there. I think I'm going to move on to this tulip next. My parents' tulips are coming up, but they're not quite open yet. Well, they might be today. Well, they said it was kind of chilly today. It actually snowed here today. Like, ugh, man. And it was cold on top of that, too. Uh, so that was unpleasant. But when we were at my parents', it was just getting nicer and nicer out, so that was nice. But yeah, their tulips aren't quite open, but they're getting there. They had their buds out and everything. Definitely not as open as this guy quite yet. We need a good blast of warm. That would be nice. I'm ready for that. Okay. Again, sticking to my loop method. Got the loopy folded end on this side. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to do just a back stitch for the flower and the back stitch in green for the stem, and then we'll do these two really big single chain stitches. So it's just like this one that we did here, but like 4 times as big. So that's kind of fun. Quick and easy. It actually uses up a ton of floss though, making stitches that big. Alright, let's go around this feller. I'm just picking a spot to start. We'll do that little back stitch and grab here and get through that loop. There we are. Loop being held down. And now I'll just cruise around this. You could use more thread if you want. You could actually fill this in. That would be really, really cute, actually. Ooh, I kind of want to do that now. I'm going to stick to this for now, but ooh, maybe later in the week, maybe we'll pick one of these icons that I still have on here and fill it completely in. That would be really kind of fun. Do some satin stitch filling in. These are the perfect size to fill in with satin stitch too, just because they are so little. Satin stitch or the short and long stitch if you want. So yeah, play around with stitches. I'd love to see what you guys are up to with this. So post your progress over in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group on Facebook for sure. I'd love to see what you end up doing with it. I would like to get this grouping done by tomorrow, though, and I think we might be able to even have time to sew it into one of the cards here. So it'll, like I said, it'll be a little different than these because this I actually traced the design onto a separate piece of scrap fabric, and that's why I have all this extra space around without printing. These I'm going to cut out a little closer to the design, but I'll still sew it on like this. And then I won't really have much room to stitch these other ones, so I probably won't stitch those with this piece. But yeah, so tomorrow I'd like to finish this and actually sew it onto a card. And then maybe we can play around a little bit more. We'll pick one of these other ones and maybe do that too. And I just really, I'm having fun with these cards. So we do have a few more of these as well. I think we have maybe 20 or so of these cards, and they come as a set of 2. So we have about 20 sets of 2 or so. So if you want to give this a try, just the sewing on it. I'm sewing it on with a literal sewing machine. I'm not like hand stitching it or anything like that. Just a sewing machine. But it would be fun like to put like, some felt on the back too. You could make it like a whole like little 3D thing. And I actually think you could take this whole thing, if you wanted to stitch the whole thing and like cut it out and sew it on, that would be really cool. Someone would be getting a very special card in the mail if you did that. That'd be a lot of stitching for that person. But it's just fun getting a little card that has some touch, some feel, tangibleness to it. And how nice to get a card in the mail these days anyway. Alright, pretty tulip. Ugh, I do really want to fill that in, but we'll leave it. I'm going to leave it for now. Alright, so I'm going to weave in this end. There should be plenty of floss you're getting a whole, skein of floss with the bundle, so there's plenty enough to be able to weave in, or not to weave in, to do satin stitch for these if you wanted to. Okay. Lots of pink left over, so we had more than what we needed. Okay, let's pull one of those little green pieces again, and, from that piece that we cut earlier. Just pulling another strand out. Now we're down to 4 strands left. Should be plenty good. And let's finish up this tulip. Okay. So I'm going to start with the back stitch. We'll do the little loop method again, and then when I get down here, we'll do those big loops. And gosh, hopefully I have enough floss for that. Like I said, these big, when you do like these large chain stitches that go across a spans, they use up lots of floss. And they use up a lot of floss because you're starting here, making a giant loop, and then you gotta go all the way back up here to tack it down, and then you gotta go all the way back down to start another one. So you're going back and forth like 4 lengths of that thread, basically. Easy peasy. Couple back stitches. Alright, so I'm going to do these big chain stitches now, in the same way that I did the other chain stitches. Oh man, I hope I have enough floss. I'm going to go back in the same hole, and I have like kind of the loop around here. And I'm going to come up right at that top there. I'm not going to pull super tight because, again, I want that kind of teardrop shape. It's not going to be as teardroppy because, we are covering like a big distance here. So we are going to have pretty much straight lines except for right at the top there. And my little anchor stitch. I think I'll have just enough floss, hopefully, for this one. Then I'm coming back down, doing this other loop. Just enough, I think. Back up. There we are. Tack that down. Phew, made it. There we are. Okay, so I'm just going to weave that in the end. Oh, it looks like it got a little weird loop caught here. That's okay. I'll just try and grab that as I weave in the end. I'm weaving in the backs of the back stitches just because there's a lot to weave in there versus the loops I just made. Okay, snip that. There, 2 done. We're cruising through these little babies. All right, what should we do next? I think we'll do the bee next, just because because this little seedling, it has some French knots, and I guess the bee has French knots too. I kind of like doing French knots last. then I can't accidentally grab my, have it get caught on my floss. Yeah. I'm going to do the bee. Let's do the bee first. So I think I'll start with the blue wings. And that will be my winter morning blue. Had enough of winter, but that's okay. Let's grab this. So there's no more blue in the rest of this. Although, we got blue later, so we'll use it later too. So I'm just going to get maybe a little bit bigger piece. I end up using all of this floss for something. I'll make more pom-poms out of them. All the extra floss. There we are. Oh, I didn't zoop that one. Zoop there. Okay. Get the ends together. There. Okay. Thread that needle using that pinch method where I just pinch the two ends and then slowly undo them. In the moment I can see the thread there, I push the needle down over the top, and that usually works. Grab that. Oops. Pulling the thread apart here. Okay. Blue wings. Okay, let's start up here. It's the back stitch again. These would be cute filled in as well with this blue. One of these this week I'll have to fill in all the way. That should still be quick and easy. These are all just so quick and easy, which, you know, makes it great if you're doing these little cards. Stitch one up quick and throw it in the mail. I still think just little back stitch is just sweet and cute. I always like how beady, like almost like little pearls, back stitches are, especially here with this blue. Like the light just hits each stitch individually, so you can just see every little pearly stitch. So to me that screams embroidery, and that's why I tend to use back stitches a lot. There's all sorts of other stitches that you can use for straight lines like this. If you want something more organic, like less beady, you want it to feel more like a solid line, you could use a split stitch. You could use a stem stitch. That'll make the lines a little thicker because you're kind of doubling up thread next to each other. A chain stitch would be cute. All sorts of stitches to make lines. Alright, and I think I'm going to just jump over here to get the other wings. I'm not worrying about jumping just that little bit, especially since we'll be putting stitches in the spot where I'm going to make that jump. So usually I don't like hopping across my shapes to other shapes, but these are so little that it doesn't matter. Alright, start a little back stitch over here. Ugh, he looks really sweet with his little wings here. Chad had to go to his cat vet checkup today, and they were worried, my parents were worried that they wouldn't even be able to find him when it was ready, when it was time to go to the appointment, because he's an outdoor kitty and he kind of just does his thing. But they were able to find him, and he cried in the car. He just like does this moany cry. It's so sad. But I guess he was really good at the vet, and then he got to stay inside for a little bit, and he napped inside for a little after that. But now he doesn't have to go back for like 3 years, I guess. He was getting all his, I don't know, flea and tick shots, all that sort of stuff. Poor kitty. I'm glad they were able to find him, though, and bring him. But he was nice at the vet. stitch of this blue. All right, I think I'll do his the outside of his body next. I'll do the inside last, just because then I can do those French knots last. I think that's my game plan there. I think we probably have enough time to finish this feller, and then tomorrow we'll stitch up this the little seed pod here, the sprout. And then I think we'll sew this onto a card. We'll actually make like a final card out of this. That'd be fun. All right. Orange. So now I'm going to do the body. Oh, we haven't used this color yet. So this is the Goldenrod color. We might have to do a giveaway. Maybe we'll do a little maybe I'll send these cards to someone in the Penguin Fish Crafters group. So we'll have to do like a little drawing or something maybe later in the week. That would be kind of fun. Send some snail mail. It's attached to my sleeve here. All right, and so we're going around his body here. I think he's got two little antennae. We'll just do one stitch for that. And then we'll come back in and do his little face and eyes with that teddy bear color. Ooh, I did not cut a nice edge before trying to thread it, so that's giving me some difficulty there. Let's try that again. Getting all fuzzy. There we go. All right, I think I'll just start at his little stinger down here and then go around in a loop. Starting with that loop method again. Okay. Itty bitty triangle for his stinger. He's a happy bee. A happy bee. Alright, I like doing a little stitch over the top of where other stitches come to the line. Then it looks like that stitches, or the stinger will look like behind the front of the body a little bit. So just a bunch of little baby back stitches around all these. So when I get to the top of his head, I'll do his antenna right away. Now normally I probably would have done his stripes and his face and everything first, because I like going like the things furthest that I want furthest to the back first, and then the things that I want on top later. So in theory, I'd want this nice outline over the top of, like covering up the edges of these stitches. I'm still going to try and achieve that by like tucking them in there, but I there's no right or wrong, but my reasoning was that like, oh, I don't want to do those French knots till last. And those French knots are the same color as the rest of the inside of the body. So I thought, I'll do this outline first, and then I'll do the inside of the body and do those French knots last for his little eyes. think we'll have just enough time to finish this little guy. I love these little guys. So we did a version of this for winter too, where we had some winter icons, and then we did some Christmas icons as well. And I just really had fun stitching those up. It's fun. These, like, just stitching something so small, and you really can play around with it. Like, this would have been a cute one to fill in with satin stitches, or even short and long stitches. We could have done a little gradient in his body. Like, it could have been going from like yellow to this orangey yellow, and we could have got like a stripe effect out of it, or made the stripes black and blend into a yellow body or something. That would have been kind of cute. I feel like it's less stressful to play around when you have just these small little things. Then you're not committing to something huge. Okie doke. There's his little body. Let's weave in those ends, and we'll get that teddy bear color again, and that's less color for him. Or for her. She's probably a worker bee. There we are. Oops, missed the needle minder there. So normally I'd put this needle minder on my actual piece, but since I'm using the little little hoop, this is fine having it near me like this. As long as I know where it is. Usually if I don't use a needle minder, my needle is just somewhere hiding on my table, and that's not smart. More prone to lose it then. Alright, so let's grab another piece of this teddy bear color. We did kind of get a lot of this. Probably didn't need to get a piece that big, but, well, we went around. We had just enough for this boot, so it's fine, and we'll use it more. Okay, get those ends together. Alright, let's get those stripes, then his smile, and we will end with the two French knots for the eyes. So now, since I want my this thread to look like it's behind the outline, I am kind of getting the needle underneath that outline, so it looks like that other outline thread. This gold is on top of the brown. More loop method. Try and do the same thing here, getting underneath those outline stitches. So this is a subtle shift in color, but I think it's kind of sweet. Just a little. We're doing all these cute light springy colors for this one, so I didn't do any like black for the eyes or black for these stripes. I kept it to this pretty brown. I think it makes everything look light and springy and happy. Alright, let's get this stripe. I think his mouth will go pretty quick. I think for his mouth we'll do one stitch across the top and then 3 for the arcing shape. I like doing arcs with 3 stitches, because then 2 stitches just kind of look like a point, but if you didn't get 3, then it starts looking like a half circle. So 3 is typically what I do, even if they're itty bitty ones, itty bitty stitches like this. This little mouth would be cute filled in too. Man, I'm itching to do some satin stitching, it sounds like. We'll have to do some of that this week. Alright, then we'll do the one across the top. Okay, there, he's happy. Okay, for French knot, I'm going to come up on one side of this circle. So these dots are, his eyes are a little pretty small, so these might be a little big poofy eyes, but I think that'll be kind of cute. Alright, so I'm holding the floss that's coming out of the fabric here, and then I'm pointing the needle towards that left hand. I'm not pointing towards the fabric, I'm pointing towards my hand. And I'm just going to go around, loop it around my needle twice, and hold that there, those loops there, and then I can let go. I'm just going to kind of shush this out of the way. And then I'm going to go near my first, where I came up. I'm not going in the same hole, though. I'm kind of going across the other side of the eye. I just want some of those little fabric threads in between. And I'm only going in halfway. Then I'm going to let go of my loops and pull my threads so those loops go right against the fabric there. Then I'm going to hold them in place with my thumb, and then I can go through the rest of the eye slowly. And there we go. There's his one little bulgy eye. You could do this if you don't want these stitches so big. You could do it with like one strand of floss too, but I like them. I think it's cute. Big, crazy, bulgy eyes. All right, let's do it again. This is kind of more my normal speed of French knot. It's definitely helpful to lay it on the table, though, to do it. Look at his little bobbly eyes there. That's cute. All right, he's done. Let's weave in those ends. And we got 3 of these little babies done tonight, so that was pretty quick. I think this whole piece would, I think, you know, would take exactly, or maybe even well, it'd probably still take us like the 5 days to finish all of them. But we're gonna play around with it. We're not gonna stitch all of them. We're gonna stitch like these few, and then like hand pick some to be that we can turn into like these cute little greeting cards. I just think that greeting card project is just so fun. All right, so there are the 3 from tonight. So again, the plan is I'm going to do this one too, and then I'll cut close to the edge. I'll probably be cutting it too close to stitch these other ones around it, but I'm going to cut real close, just a little square. We could kind of make a fun shape around it too. I don't know. We'll do some sort of cutting, and then we will attach them to these craft paper greeting cards and sew them on with the machine. So that we'll all do tomorrow. I think that we can easily get done tomorrow. We can actually probably do that, plus start stitching something else. Like it'd be kind of fun to do like this bird with satin stitch, or I don't know, we'll see. Probably not any of these ones real close to it, but these other ones we could. Little watering can we could fill in with some stitches. That'd be kind of cute. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards all these gardening things. I really am this week. All right, so that is that for this evening. So thank you guys again for joining me here. Here is the size, just real little baby stitching there. This is going to be fun, turning these into greeting cards this week. And sorry again about the comments. I think, like I said, I think you guys could comment to each other tonight, but I couldn't read any of the comments on Facebook or YouTube, so hopefully I'll try and get that fixed tomorrow. But thanks for bearing with me again here. And I'm excited for a week of stitching. So thanks again, and have a great evening, everyone. See you tomorrow. Good night.